Hey guys, so I wanted to come on here and clear up something real quick because I realize I do get this sometimes from people, not as often, but when I share pictures of me from my childhood, I get a lot of questions usually, especially because I'm a very artistic, colorful person. I love rainbows, I love unicorns, I love that kind of stuff. And a lot of people look at pictures of me from my childhood, and I'm a blonde haired, blue eyed little girl, but I have very short hair and I look like a boy. And a lot of people have looked at me and my situation and my journey and assumed that I'm a transgender person, or that I'm gay, or that I'm part of the LGBTQ community. And I'm not. I'm a biological female. And I have nothing against anybody in that community or anything. But what happened to me actually is a direct mirror of a lot of the things that happen to trans people in their lives. So a lot of times people like that connect with me on that level, a deep emotional level, because they understand the identity crisis that I went through. But mine is reversed. So when I was a little girl, I had blonde hair, and I have very, very thick hair. To this day, my hair is super, super duper thick. It's not as thick as it used to be, but it is quite thick. So it is very difficult to deal with. And when I was a little girl and my hair started growing and getting very thick, unfortunately, my mother decided that she would make the decision for me that I would have a boy's haircut. And she gave me the same haircut that my brother got, my older brother got. He was 4 years older than me, and he also had blonde hair. We had the exact same bowl cut haircut. And what ended up happening to me was when I went to school, I was judged. I was looked at differently by all of my classmates. They were very confused as to why a girl had a boy's haircut. Although I did go to school, elementary school in the 90s, so there were girls with shorter hair in my class, but they were cut in a more girl type of way. And a lot of times, even AI will confuse some of my old childhood photos and think that it's a picture of a little boy. When I was a teacher, we had an activity in the workroom one day for one of our potlucks. It was supposed to be a fun activity. And it was bring in a childhood photo of you, and what everybody's going to guess, who it is. So at the end of the day, we went to do our guessing, and all of my coworkers looked at this cute little picture of me doing the walk like an Egyptian with my little red dog hat on, and they assumed it was one of the male teachers in our department. And when they found out it was me, they were shocked, they were surprised, and some of them kind of laughed a little bit. And so I've always had this thing with my identity like that isn't even my doing. It was my mother's, and it was because she couldn't be bothered to figure out how to get my hair cut or styled when I was that age. And unfortunately, that has caused a lot of judgment on my end. And it's not a good feeling to be judged and for people to think you are something that you're not. Because I am a truly authentic, creative, beautiful person. And there's nothing wrong with anybody who has a different path with their identity. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying for me, that really deeply hurt me. It stripped away my femininity in elementary school at a very young age when I needed to be reassured of my femininity. I'm a little girl, and a little girl is like this. She's deeply emotional. She likes Barbie, those kinds of things. And I was a tomboy naturally as a little girl. I liked boy things and girl things. However, it created this very real disconnect for me and this very real struggle all through elementary school because of that. And then when my hair started to grow as I got to middle school and it darkened to more of a dirty blonde color, it got very poofy, and I started getting bullied in school for that. People bullied me because my hair wasn't straight and ironed straight like all the other girls. So then eventually I had to go get my hair chemically straightened so that it would finally at least, be manageable for me. And that was the point when my mom stopped controlling my haircuts. However, it deeply did affect me and change me in a lot of ways. And during that time too, it wasn't just my hair. It was like I started talking to sticks and being really imaginative. I lost my dog, who I was super, super duper attached to, and I had so much grief related to that during that time. And my family, forced me into this boyish look. And then they ridiculed me constantly for talking to a stick and creating imaginative stories. And then I lost my dog, which was the worst kind of grief. I had never experienced grief before. I was 3 or 4 years old. I didn't understand that that dog was gone forever. And I cried for days on end. And my parents really did not know what to do. And eventually they got me another dog because of that. And so those things really kind of built this foundation for a very broken little girl that was already broken from the start. And so if you can connect with me, I'm happy and I'm glad for that. But I just wanted to kind of clear that up, because a lot of people think, oh, she must be trans, or she must be this, or this must be her story. They try to attach a narrative to me that they don't know, because they don't actually know me. And I do try to tell my story on here, but I don't tell everything. And I haven't told everything. There's some things that, we want to keep to ourselves. But for the purposes of just kind of getting that out there and letting you know, that's my story. That's my truth. And it really was painful for me to be given a boy's haircut. I looked at all the little girls in my class in elementary school who had pretty hair. They had little hair clips in their hair. They had little barrettes and things. I couldn't wear those because I had a crooked bowl cut. And my mom refused to let my hair grow out. I wanted to grow my hair out. She refused. And that really, really damaged me. And that damaged my sense of identity. And that's what I mean when I say people from that kind of community can kind of connect with my pain and that mirror, because I was forced into this sort of outward appearance identity where I would be judged, as opposed to the opposite of that. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic, honestly. But anyway, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you for letting me share my truth. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great day, and don't let anybody else's judgments or thoughts determine how you feel about yourself, because that's what I did for a very long time, and it hurt. But now that I've healed from that, I can see how wrong it was, and that is what has helped me grow.